It's fair to say that just about everyone encountered the unexpected in one way or another over the past few years, but this isn't exactly a pandemic story. Rona Maynard, formerly editor-in-chief of Chatelaine, among other accomplishments, didn't want or see the point of having a dog until one arrived to change her life. Her new memoir tells that story. It's called Starter Dog: My Path to Joy, Belonging, and Loving This World. And here's Rona Maynard. Hi.
Hi.
And here's your friend to tell us more. Well, why don't we say you do the talking here, and Casey will just do the looking sharp. Is that all right?
Excellent.
Okay. Would you care to give the full introduction to your friend here?
This is Casey Charles Jones, my very first dog. Jones is my husband's surname, and it was his idea that we should have a dog.
And the dog is how old?
He's almost 10, but nobody can believe it because he's bouncing all over the place.
Yeah, he's very energetic, although right now, very calm and cool, and we like that.
I don't know what you did to bring this out in him.
It's a gift. What can I tell you? You had your first dog literally just 10 years ago.
Well, he wasn't a puppy when we got him. So, no, it was 8 years ago.
8 years ago, okay.
We could not have a puppy because we live in an 8th floor condo. So the puppy training was impossible. We decided we wanted a young adult dog.
And you got one.
A rescue.
And this dog is from a long way away, actually. How did he end up coming to you?
Well, it's quite a story. He was born unwanted in Ohio, in Belmont County, taken to the local shelter. And from there, he went to a prison, a men's prison. They had one of these programs that pair prisoners and dogs. The unwanted humans train the unwanted pups to be adoptable. And then the theory is they go back to the shelter and they find homes. Now, whoever trained him was kind of loosey-goosey. He's not the best trained dog in terms of sitting and lying down, and forget about shaking paws, but he learned very early how to love and how to trust.
You know what? He definitely did that. I've just met this dog, obviously, and we went for a brief little walk. Licking my hands. Yeah, he's just jumping up and just sort of very, very friendly with me.
He's always in a mood to make a friend. Now, we were told a real line about this dog. We were told the shelter was a high-kill shelter, and we were told that he was a lab-pug mix and great with kids. And I thought, oh, isn't this wonderful? Because I thought he was going to love our grandson. Well, he didn't love our grandson. They did not get along. He's not a lab pug mix.
No, it doesn't look it.
We had his DNA done, we know. And the shelter is a no-kill shelter.
Ah, so they just basically said all this in hopes that you'd take the dog.
Yes, they said whatever they had to say. And the one thing they said that was true was the most important thing. They said, he's the perfect dog for you.
Now, they didn't know that. They were just stringing you along, right? They're handing you a line.
Well,
but it turns out to be true.
They weren't. They knew we were older. They knew we had never had a dog before. So they weren't going to give us a dog with behavior issues. They weren't going to give us a traumatized dog, and a lot of those come into care. They weren't going to give us a dog with complicated medical problems.
How did the notion of having a dog in the first place, at this stage of your life, sit with you?
I had extremely mixed feelings about it. In fact, when my husband said, let's get a dog, my first reaction was, you've got to be kidding. We've missed the moment for a dog. I thought the time for a dog was when you have kids.
Yeah, well, it's the best time, but not the only time.
I would dispute that, actually. I think now is actually the best time.
How come?
What do I know, really? Because we didn't have a dog when we were young. But what I love about having a dog now is that we can really relax and slow down and enjoy him and take in all the little details of how he is changing and enriching and expanding our life together and our life in the community. When we were working really hard. We were very preoccupied with our jobs.
No time for a dog then, in some respects.
Really, no. Every so often, one of us would say, wouldn't it be nice to have a dog? And then we'd say, well, we couldn't possibly have a dog. And when I was editing Chatelaine, my busiest years ever, I briefly conceived this notion that a dog would get me out of the office earlier and get me home to do something that was good for me, go out and take a walk. I thought a dog was like a glorified stairmaster. And I somehow thought Christmas was coming, that my husband was getting me a dog. Because he said, don't go in the garage. You have to stay out of the garage. I thought, there's a dog in there. Silly me. It had not occurred to me, because I knew so little about dogs. When is this dog walking? Why is this dog not barking? What kind of life can a dog have shut up in a garage? Anybody who could think that a dog could be kept for 2 weeks in a garage is not ready to have a dog. So it was a very good thing that there was no dog in the garage. What it actually was a neon sign with my name on it.
What about cats? Did you have cats growing up?
We had quite a few.
Okay.
And my husband and I had cats as well.
So you're clearly a cat person then,
Well, I thought I was.
until this one came along.
Yeah, I thought cats are easy.
Well, they are easier. Lower maintenance, anyway.
I thought cats, they'll find a sunny corner, they will bask, they will look good on your couch, they'll come and rub against your legs, and they'll be home by themselves and they won't miss you. Now, I know there are people who would disagree with that and say, yes, they do miss you. But all our cats seemed mostly indifferent to our presence.
They're just giving off that vibe so you don't get cocky. They do miss you.
Our best cat was named Casey, and he was the same color as this dog. And we named our dog for the cat.
Gotcha. This is, I mean, you've written this story, Starter Dog, and it really is, it's a lovely story about how the aforementioned has changed your life. And I want to read a little excerpt from this, shall we?
Yes.
Sheldon, bring this up if you would. You write, with Casey, I didn't analyze, I simply felt. Like blowing imaginary bubbles while screaming, yes, let's. It was a whole new way to be. Or should I say, a new way to be whole. Casey reached out to me with paws and nose and tongue. He pulled me into a realm of undiluted feeling. For the first time, I didn't much care what I thought or knew. Some things about being human can't be learned from your own kind. Fascinating. So this is dog as therapist, dog as spiritual leader. How did this happen?
I was ready. I think it really is true that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. I had tried so many things to enlarge my life. I was frustrated. I was at loose ends. I had been away from the corporate world for a long time, thought I needed a big project to wrap my busy brain around.
You needed a new mission in life.
And I thought it was going to have complicated moving parts that would be solved with brain power and maybe a smart human colleague or two. I had tried all kinds of work on myself. I'd done the 12-step group. I'd done therapy, marriage counseling, various kinds of body work, hung upside down from ropes in a yoga class. And there were all these smart people, caring people, who had tried to help me lead a better life. And in their separate ways, they had all made contributions. But what I had never learned to do was nothing.
That's a hard thing for very, active A-type personality
Yes.
mission-driven people to do.
It is hard to let go of the expectation that you must have something to show for your day.
Yes. And so, enter Casey, and this is your new mission in life.
He got me out meeting my neighbors. I had always just barreled past them. I lived downtown in a neighborhood where every day we might meet tourists from New York and Italy, and we also meet people on their lunch hour and a juggler practicing his moves and a bunch of homeless people. And to Casey, they are all equal. They are all the same. And they are all interesting if they are interested in him.
It's a great thing that a dog, in some respects, teaches us so much about people, right?
Yes. And when I think about achievement and my attitude to achievement, I think particularly about one man in our neighborhood. He was a middle-aged black man in a wheelchair with very long fingers. I always thought piano fingers. And he rode around all day in the neighborhood giving treats to dogs. He couldn't have a dog himself, but he loved dogs. And I thought of him as a dispenser of happiness. I don't know if he worked for a living. I do not know what he had done with his life before he was in a wheelchair, but I can tell you he made a profound impact on my day every time I saw him. He disappeared. We used to see him, watch for him. He loved Casey, and Casey loved him. And he'd been gone for months, and I thought, where's JP? So I logged into the neighborhood Facebook group, and I asked if anyone had seen him, where is JP? And somebody said, I think he had a stroke. And then a day went by and somebody else said that he had died. And my heart broke. I felt my eyes well with tears that JP was gone. And all these other people came and said, echoing me, how much they missed him, how much he brought to the neighborhood just by being a kind person that people looked forward to seeing every day. I still think of him.
And that's a man you may never have met if not for Casey.
I would never have met him. I would have walked past him because he was in a black wheelchair and he always wore black from head to toe. I probably would not even have noticed him.
Do you and your husband, Paul, compete for Casey's attention?
No, and if I ever tried to compete, it would be game over because Paul is Casey's favorite.
Why?
Well, lots of reasons. Paul is very expansive and he makes noises and he plays silly games. He's really out there with a dog. He's a big burly guy, and the guys in prison, I think, were big burly guys. So I imagine that he probably channels Casey's first friends in the world. Casey doesn't like kids very much, and I think it's because there were no kids in prison.
Okay, so he has really no history of having to learn how to deal with children.
That's right. The other reason Casey prefers Paul is that Paul has a much freer hand with the treats and with the food on his plate.
Should I risk one now?
Yeah. Why don't
I give Casey a treat?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Why don't you give him a treat?
It's funny.
Although it might get him rather excited and he's nice and calm.
Well, he's been so nice and calm now. I feel we should reward him. Hey, look at this. Hey, Casey. Yeah, I know. You can smell this, right? Can I give you that? There you go, sweetheart. Okay, that's great. You okay with that? Now, how many do you give at one time?
Well, you see, I would only give him one, but my husband probably would give more than that.
Would give more than one?
I'm the keeper of the toothbrush. That is not nearly as much fun for a dog.
I'm going to give you another one, okay? Is that all right? And then maybe you'll like me more than you like Rona. Is that possible?
You're working on it.
I'm working on it.
You've got a real shot.
How old's the grandson?
He is now 13, but when we got him, he was little. He was, I think he was 9. He's an only child, quite shy, and he was afraid of Casey.
Has that changed?
It has changed. He's not afraid anymore. He now will pet Casey, but for the longest time he was scared and he thought Casey would bite him. And dogs pick up on this kind of thing. If they know that you're scared of them, then they're going to be kind of scared of you.
Yeah, they sense it.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure they can. Now, mind you, when your grandson gets to be older, gets to be an adult, presumably it will open a door to the two of them having a relationship.
Well, they're kind of starting one now.
Hi, you want more, I can tell,
Cameron
don't you?
will stroke Casey now. I wouldn't say they're the best of friends, but they're okay.
Can I assume that when you were running Chatelaine, if you had seen somebody walking their dog along the street, you would have thought, there's somebody with their dumb animal?
Well, kind of. I never understood why people were so broken up when their dogs died. I hate to say that, but it is true. I once worked in an office at McLean's where a woman took time off work because her dog had died, and the guys in the office said terrible things about her and how she wasn't really serious. And I thought, she's let the side down. It is up to her to be a strong feminist and care about the work above everything else, and this dog is just a dog. Was I ever wrong? For so many people, the dog is the most important relationship in their life. And yet here was I saying, well, your dog never helped you figure out how to deal with your boss. Your dog never baked you a cake on your birthday. And that's not what it's about at all.
What's it about?
Your dog relates to you feeling to feeling and moment to moment. It is a realm of pure emotion that you share together. And with a human family member or friend, a lot of stuff gets into the mix.
This is unconditional love here, right? Your dog, Casey, gives you unconditional love.
But more important than that to me, and by the way, he's giving you unconditional love too.
It's wonderful.
Is that I give him so much love, and the love that I give him spills over into all these other relationships with the world and with the people that I meet and with the creatures of the earth. I was never particularly interested in nature or animals until I walked a dog, and he cracked that world open to me. I will now stop to have a conversation with a frog. Would that have happened before Casey? No. Casey has no interest in frogs, by the way.
Where do you stand on the issue, and you and I have both seen this, where people refer to their pets almost as if they were talking about their children? And certainly when a pet dies, it's as if you lose a member of the family. I won't say it's like losing a child, but it's like losing a member of the family. Where do you come down on this issue of the anthropomorphization of pets?
I never call myself his mom. Casey's mom, and I say this with the utmost affection for her, is a bitch in Ohio.
It's a very funny line, I know. That's good.
And I'm so grateful to that dog. I have a son. I am his mother. That is a very different kind of relationship. And yet my love for Casey is boundless. It is a different kind of love. And I never think about Casey, oh, he shouldn't be doing that. He should be doing it the way I would do it. I do, I'm afraid, have those thoughts sometimes about my son, as my mother had those thoughts about me.
So it's all okay.
Yeah, it's all okay. You know, we reserve the right with our human children to pass a certain amount of quiet judgment on their lives.
This is not necessarily known as one of the smartest breeds of dog.
Definitely.
Are you okay with that? Made your peace with that?
I absolutely have, although I've got to tell you, Steve, when we went looking for a dog, we thought we wanted a smart dog because we were smart people. And we wanted him to carry the family honor. But I don't think he is very smart. He has a tiny vocabulary of known words, as far as we can tell. He is the world's ranking expert on us. So you certainly could argue he knows everything that he needs to know. And we had a blast going to the dog lab at U of T back when they had one. The lab has now moved to Brown University, but they were doing experiments on how dogs think. And I took Casey there twice, and I said, does everybody come here secretly thinking, how smart is my dog? And they said yes, because we all do. Well, maybe not all of us. Some of us are more pure, but lots of us do want to think our dog is really smart. And it doesn't matter. The dog just needs to know enough to get through his day and love it. And Casey knows, he's been in many hotels. He knows what a hotel is and how it's set up and how life is in a hotel. And he knows that when Whitney arrives at the door, he's going to the doggy farm for his vacation. And he knows that when he hears a banana being peeled from 2 rooms away, and he hears my husband's footsteps, he's getting a chunk of banana.
That sound he knows. Let me ask you one last thing, and that is, I mean, at some point, you're going to have to imagine your life without this dog. That is inevitable. Can you imagine, I mean, can you really get your head around what your life would have been like had you never met?
I can't, because I look at how my life has blossomed in the past 8 years, and it would not have happened without Casey. I would be totally in my head, the same way I was until age 65. And when we lose him, as we will, I will certainly want another dog. I won't be able to imagine life without a dog. I will miss him terribly. And I do think about that. But every moment that we've had together is indelible in a way, because I carry these memories and they're part of my walk and my senses and how I see the world. He's always going to be with me.
I know, I can tell. Starter Dog is the name of your book, and your dog has been just so superb during our time together here. Can I give him one more treat?
Oh, I think he'll let you.
One more treat? Hey, Casey. Let's do one more treat, just because you were so good. You were so good. You didn't make any interruptions at all. You didn't
Good
bark.
boy,
You didn't do
Casey.
anything. Good job, Casey. You're terrific. You're shedding like hell all over our stuff, but you're terrific.
We need to use the Furminator.
Yeah, I think that's right. Rona, thank you so much for coming in
Thank you,
tonight.
it was fun.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is made possible through generous philanthropic contributions from viewers like you. Thank you for supporting TVO's journalism.